I'll just repeat. Whenever you are solving the questions related to final accounts, you should first be reading the question and then you should be solving it. In the final account, we are supposed to prepare three major statements. One is trading account, second is profit and loss account, third is balance sheet. However, you can merge the trading account and the profit and loss account. As far as the trading account and profit and loss account is concerned, this is prepared for the year ended. Why? Because it includes all the incomes and expenses related to a particular period. Whereas the balance sheet is always prepared as on a particular date, as the balance sheet includes only the items which are related to the income, related to assets and liabilities of the business, which are having the balances as on the last date of the year. That's why balance sheet is called as a positional statement, whereas trading account and profit and loss account are called as the periodic statement. So you should first read the question and then try and understanding the whole of the situation. उसके बाद पहला हम लोग क्लोज करेंगे ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट. ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट का जो प्रॉफिट या लॉस होगा, that will be transferred to the profit and loss account. The gross profit or gross loss, the balancing figure of the trading account is called as gross profit or gross loss. Then whatever is the balancing figure of your profit and loss account, which we call as the net profit or net loss, that net profit or net loss will be transferred to the capital, will be added or subtracted from the capital. And then you close the balance sheet. Mind well, my dear friends, the total of balance sheet onto the asset side must be equal to the total of balance sheet liabilities side automatically. Why? Because we are following the double entry system. And as we are following the double entry system, the dual aspect says that every transaction will have two effects on the financial position of a business. And as every transaction is going to have two effects on the financial position of the business, my total assets must be equal to the capital plus liabilities. Because as a result of a particular transaction, if one effect of the transaction increases an asset, the another effect of the transaction will decrease another asset or increase a liability. So either which way it can go, and therefore I say that the total of balance sheet must get tallied automatically. I'm not saying it just for the sake of it. I'm not saying कि ऐसा ही होता है. There's a logic behind that. What is the logic? I told you that, and then I'm going ahead. Now what you should be doing, you should first read the question. So let's go into the question. The trial balance as on 31st March 2018. Capital is given to us. All the personal accounts will have either debit balances or credit balances. Personal accounts having debit balances are the receivables. Personal accounts having the credit balances are the payables. All the real accounts will have the debit balances because we own the real accounts. Nominal accounts, if you take the example of, if those are the expenses, those will have debit balances. And if those are the incomes, those will have the credit balances. All right. So based on that only, we are going to do the assessment analysis of these all items. So let's go into that. Capital drawings, opening stock, purchases and sales. Purchases and sales means what? The debit, that is 40,000, represents purchases. Credit, that is 70,000, represents sales. Office salaries being an expense. Royalties. Royalties is basically the amount that you pay for the purpose of usage of your of someone else's patents, copyrights, trademarks, etc. So royalties is basically related to production, and therefore if nothing has been provided, if royalty would have been on sales, then in that case it will go to the profit and loss account. Otherwise, royalties is the amount which is treated as a direct expense. I repeat, royalties are treated as the direct expenses. Trade expenses, advertisement. Now, trade expenses do not mean the expenses for the trading activity. Trade expenses means the expenses for business which cannot be merged with any other. So those are a kind of miscellaneous expenses. And the miscellaneous expenses are considered as the indirect expenses. Advertisement, wages, cash in hand, debtors and creditors. Debtors will always have debit balances. So debit में जो दिया गया है, that is 25,000 is nothing but the value of your debtors, and 15,000 is the value of your creditors. Bad debts. Now please understand the bad debts given in here in the trial balance means the bad debts are already been accounted, bad debts are already been adjusted. So these bad debts will not be subtracted from the debtors in the balance sheet. These bad debts will directly appear in the profit and loss account. Investments, bills receivables and bills payable. No, there is some gadbad here. There is some printing error here. This 3,000 must be here. All right. So bills receivable 2,000, bills payable 3,000. Accordingly, it will be motor van 15,000, discount 800, furniture 5,000, office rent 1,500, plant and machinery 12,000, freehold property 8,000, return output 1,000. And then there is only one adjustment given, that is closing stock was valued at a cost of 13,500. That's it. So what we have to do, we have to prepare the trading account, the profit and loss account, and the balance sheet for this. Let's do it here. All right. So we have to prepare for this question. This is question 1. For the sake of understanding, I'll prepare a separate trading account. I'll prepare a separate profit and loss account. However, practically we can prepare this together. Now here there are no multiple adjustments, so I'm preparing only a single amount column. Otherwise, generally we prepare an additional inner amount column. जैसे ऐसे प्रॉब्लम में थोड़ी सी प्रोग्रेस होगी तब हम लोग वो बनाएंगे. At this point in time, I'm not preparing it. All right. So we'll have a छोटा सा trading account. We'll have a bit मोटा सा profit and loss account. And with the similar kind of size, we'll have the balance sheet. ये एग्जैक्ट कितना लगता है ये डिपेंड करता है कि आपके पास इंफॉर्मेशन क्या है. इसमें बहुत ही छोटे फॉर्मेट लगने वाले हैं. So we'll prepare trading account for the year ended 31st March 18. Profit and loss account for the year ended 31st March 18, and then balance sheet as on 31st March 18. Am I right? I said first we have to deal with the adjustment. The only adjustment which is given in this question is related to closing stock. The closing stock valued at 13,500. So how will I present it? Observe it. Closing stock का adjusting entry हमने पास किया था. Closing stock account debit to trading account. That means it will have one effect in your trading account credit side and second effect in your balance sheet asset side. So trading account credit side I'll write by closing stock rupees 13,500. मैंने छोटे छोटे presentations आपको दिखाए थे अलग अलग, and the same way it will be presented. So in the balance sheet asset side, it will appear under the current assets. Now I'm not writing the heading of fixed assets and current assets, but still I'm identifying these two items separately. So keeping some lines blank for the fixed assets and investments, I'll write directly what? Closing stock 13,500. Am I right? I hope you are understanding these points. Then, now because there was only one adjustment, I finished that adjustment. Now I need to go back to the items of trial balance. The very first item that is given in the trial balance is capital, second is drawings. Capital and drawings go into the balance sheet onto the liability side, because capital is the liability towards the owner of the business and drawings is the amount that he has withdrawn against that capital. Therefore, balance sheet onto the liability side, capital into the inner amount column will be 52,500. Why? Because we need to do the adjustment in this capital. We need to do the adjustment of the drawings. We need to do the adjustment of the profit or loss during the year. That's why it will be shown into the inner amount column. Less drawings rupees 1,500. The balancing figure will come within the inner amount column itself, 51,000. All right. The next item that we have is opening stock. Now this was the closing stock of previous year, so it is becoming the opening stock of current year. As per the matching principle, it becomes the expense of current year. And as it is related to the goods, therefore it will go into the trading account. So into the trading account, on to the debit side, to opening stock. What is the value of that? 6,000. All right. Then purchases and sales of 40,000 and 70,000. They have not given any values of returns. So these purchases and sales will appear directly to the outer amount column, presuming that these are the net purchases and sales. So into the, because purchase and sale both are the direct items, therefore it will appear in the trading account. To purchases 40,000 by sales 70,000. Am I going good for everyone? I hope the things are fine and well for everyone. I assume that there is only a single person attending this whole lecture. Can you raise hands for me if the things are going fine? No, the thing is what, that why do I ask these kind of questions? Mind well. The intention is very simple, is to understand कि तुम लोग ये सिर्फ टाइम पास के लिए अटेंड कर रहे हो या सीरियस, यू आर सीरियस अबाउट अटेंडिंग? क्योंकि सुबह उठ के बैठते हो रे तुम लोग. Well, okay, fine. You can lower your hands. As far as tomorrow's lecture is concerned, tomorrow's lecture is at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow's basic lecture will be at 7 o'clock. Next, office salaries. It being an expense of the business, but in the support of the business. Therefore, that goes to the P&L account onto the debit side to office salaries. Please understand, my dear friends, there is no sequence for the purpose of what item will come when and where. There's no sequence being decided for that. It is the sequence in which it is given in the trial balance. You can prepare the P&L account and trading account. Royalties will go into the trading account. हाँ, सीक्वेंस सिर्फ असेट साइड में फिक्स्ड असेट अलग लिखते हैं, करंट असेट्स अलग लिखते हैं, उतना हमको याद रखना पड़ेगा बस. To Pashay Chahas, rupees 1,000, correct? Trade expenses, advertisement being the expense related to the business, therefore into the P&L account. To trade expenses, rupees 700. To advertisement, rupees 2,600. All right. Wages, again, being the expense related to the production or trade, therefore wages will go into the trading account. So trading account debit side to wages 5,200. All right. Cash in hand being the asset and debtors also being the asset will appear in the balance sheet onto the asset side. Debtors 15,000. Cash in hand, what is the value of that? 4,000. sorry, debtors are 25,000 and creditors 15,000. Is it right? Yes. The next one, bad dates. Bad dates given in trial balance means those are already been adjusted against the debtors itself. Therefore, into the P&L account to bad dates rupees 200. Investments, bills receivable will appear in the balance sheet onto the asset side. Investments, the value of that 8,000. Bills receivable, because bills receivable is a current asset, 2,000, and bills payable is a current liability, payable rupees 3,000. Am I right? Next, motor van will appear as such. Discount will go into the P&L account. So motor van in the balance sheet asset side, because it is your fixed asset. A long-term asset is what we call as the fixed asset. I hope you remember this. And P&L account debit side to discount 800. All right. Then furniture being a fixed asset will be appearing in the balance sheet asset side. Office rent will go to the P&L account. Furniture rupees 5,000 to office rent rupees 1,500. After that, you have plant and machinery and freehold property. Freehold property means property on which there is no control of anyone else. That is what we call as freehold property. In some cases, you take the property on lease basis, long-term lease basis. In that case, it is called as leasehold property. Both of these are the assets of the business. All right. So in the balance sheet asset side, plant and machinery and freehold property plant and machinery of 12,000, freehold property of 8,000. All right. And finally, return outward is given of 1,000. That is purchase returns. In fact, I skipped it earlier. Normally, we write purchases less returns separately. But here, जगह के अभाव में, just for the sake of presenting, I am presenting it like that. All right. So all the items of trial balance are also over now. पहले हमने क्या किया? We read the question. We understood what all things are involved into this question. Then what we did, we went through the items of adjustments. We finished the effects of those adjustments. Then we completed the effects of items in trial balance. And then now what we are supposed to do? We are first supposed to close our trading account, then the profit and loss account, and after that the balance sheet. So let's close the trading account first. Trading account credit total comes to 83,500, whereas debit total will remain at 83,500. As the credit is more than debit, that means there is a gross profit. So to gross profit carried down, what will that be? 83,500 minus 6,000 minus 39,000 minus 1,000 minus 5,200. That is 32,300 is the gross profit. This is our balancing figure. Correct? This will appear where? In the profit and loss account onto the credit side. By gross profit brought down 32,300. From this, you'll be subtracting all the indirect expenses to arrive at what? To net profit. Because prima facie it looks that credit is more than debit. So credit is 32,300. The total of debit will be taken as 32,300. From this, I'll be subtracting all the expenses, that is minus 3,000, minus 700, minus 2,600, minus 200, minus 800, minus 1,500. So 23,500 is your net profit. Again, this is also a balancing figure, and this amount is transferred to capital account. That means it will be added to the capital account. So the balance sheet liability side to the capital, add what? Net profit during year. The year 23,500. The total of that will be taken to the outer amount column now. So your capital balance closing becomes 74,500. Right? Now I need to take the total of balance sheet plus 15,000 plus 3,000, that is 92,500 must be the balance sheet total. मैं asset side पहले लिख लेता हूं, बाद में चेक करता हूं. It has to remain same. That is 15,000, 5,000, 12,000, 8,000, 8,000, 13,500, 25,000, 4,000 and 2,000. 92,500 is the balance sheet total. Am I right? So this is how you deal with the questions related to the final accounts. This is how you prepare these different problems. You are supposed to deal with these questions. Shruti, Yadnesh, do you have any questions? श्रुति, ये तेरा क्वेश्चन था इसलिए तेरे को इतना ही हो रहा है क्या? नहीं ना? I hope you have understood the thorough answer. Please look at this lecture once again so as to get the confidence on what all items and how those will be presented. Still, we are going to do some more problems by which you'll be having the good amount of confidence related to the final accounts. And when you do that, at that time it becomes a kind of easier task for you. Not only dealing with the final accounts, but any of the topics, like even in the NPO, you'll be having the help of this. Any which ways. So that's it for the day. In the next session, that is tomorrow at 7 a.m., we'll be dealing with the further questions on final accounts. Thank you for today. Thank you very much. PDF I have already sent on the basic accounts group. Please contact with those people.